Good evening, Stonecrest. Welcome to what would be your 6 p.m. special call meeting, the City of Stonecrest. Madam City Clerk, will you do us the honor of a roll call anyway?
Good evening. Mayor Jasmine Cobble,
Present.
Member Tara Graves,
Here.
Member Rob Turner,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem George Turner,
Here.
Member Tammy Grimes.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Although we have a quorum and we have a meeting that was publicized in some corners as a 6 p.m. special call meeting, it has been brought to our attention that it was not properly advertised. Therefore, we cannot have the official 6 o'clock call meeting. So we will have a makeup meeting, and Madam City Manager, if you could set the wheels in motion to get it advertised starting right now for 7 o'clock on Wednesday. And the items that we had on the agenda for the 6 o'clock meeting was the approval of landscape maintenance vendor contract, approval of payments above city manager authority for, is that Kyson or Kitson? Kitson. Approve payment above city manager's authority to, for ClearTrack HR. Approve contract for N2U security. Approve payment above city manager's authority for low engineering for chief building official services. Approve chief building official vendor contract, and approve purchase of playground equipment for Salem Park. Public comments are normally not a part of special call meetings, but I had a request from one citizen for public comments. Ms. Faye Cofield, you wanted to make your public comments now or later?
The other thing I wanted to know about was that I'm kind of at a loss about whether or not over $100,000 is going to be funneled into the school system of Stonecrest for some kind of programs for the money we're getting. And I was going to say I was opposed to that because the school system has a budget of $2.5 billion, and we have 501c3s out in the community who have been working with the schools on their own for years and not decades. And we also have some people who have been working independently without a 501c3 classification. And I'd like for you to look at least thinking about using some of that money to pay for the lunches, to pay directly for the lunches of children who cannot qualify for a lunch program or who cannot afford lunches for a brief period of time, look at getting uniforms, and most.
Now, the items on the agenda,
Mayor Pro Tem.
did you want to address that? Or?
No. I want to make a comment about the advertisement so that it's clear that it was inadvertently, that the 6 p.m. City Council special call meeting was inadvertently advertised or not advertised, and that it wasn't a fault or it wasn't us trying to not be transparent, that it, by no fault of anyone, it was inadvertently not advertised through the legal organ, but that is the reason why we're moving it to Wednesday.
And make it clear that we had 3 meetings scheduled for this evening, and we can juggle 3 balls at one time, but somehow we dropped one this time. And I don't want to say, I don't blame anyone. I believe our staff did what they were supposed to do, and somehow when it came to the ink hitting the paper, it didn't necessarily do so from what I can understand. And stuff happens. We just need to fix it and move on. But again, it was all with good intentions, and we're going to reschedule it. Thank you very much.
And then one last thing about the advertising the urban redevelopment plan in the Champion. Is just wanted to add to that, that was done for legal purposes, so that the public hearing could still go on as scheduled. So it had to be done through the Champion. So that was law. That wasn't because we were trying to do something interesting or non-transparent. It was legally required to be advertised in the Champion, and so that's why it was there versus on Common Ground, which is the city's legal organ. So just want to make sure everybody was clear about that as well, that it was lawful that we advertised through the Champion.
Thank you. Any other comments? Then, if you want to entertain some of these items on here, I'm sorry. Did he sign up for public comments? Mr. Marcus, you was coming up for public comments?
Yes, and I didn't sign up because there weren't going to be any. So if I didn't
Right.
sign up because there weren't going to be any, but there are going to be some, I can't do it because I didn't sign up because there weren't going to be any. So I'll
Yes.
make it anyway.
We're kind of informal, so go ahead with your
I
informal
appreciate that. It's good to see everybody.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out something from the August 22 meeting, an item that was on, I think, page 736 of the packet, which I somehow missed, which basically said, I look around at this lovely building, says we're in a slum here. You guys said that this property is a slum property. If you look at, which is a urban redevelopment area, according to state law, is, quote, a slum area. Now, y'all,
Mr. Marcus, I know you want to make your public comment, but we are going to have public hearing, and I think that would probably be best addressed when you come to public hearing, unless you just want to go ahead with it.
well, I'm up here now. I'm not going to talk about what the URA is going to do or not going to do. I'm just trying to figure out how y'all figured out that this building is part of a pocket of blight. It's a nice building, one of the nicer buildings in Stonecrest. But y'all want to do something with the URA, so you decided it was a pocket of blight and declared it essentially that. If somebody could explain that, I'd really appreciate it, because where I come from, this is not blight. Now, I'm not Donald Trump, but you know. Anyway, that would be my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment in this informal meeting? I think the rest of them are staff. Okay, good. Again, thank you. A lot of the items on here were presented to us by our Director of Finance, and she's not here yet, but if you want to just go into some informal discussion about it or not, you just want to hold off on all of this until Wednesday at 7 o'clock, we can. It's up to you. Just give me some feedback. We're not even taking a vote on it.
While we contemplate that, while Mr. Marcus is here, can we ask Attorney Denmark to, and I think he stated this before in another meeting, about the urban redevelopment area, its definition, its expansion of that. Would you mind, Mayor Pro Tem, while we contemplate on the rest of it?
Yeah, Mayor Cobble, thank you. The definition of pocket of blight is not a definition from a lay person. It's a defined term under state law, and it means not what people would traditionally and ordinarily think it means. It means what state law says it means, and that could be based on the way streets are laid out, or overcrowding, or an area is just not conducive to development. And so it could be a lot of things, and it's not a pocket of blight, what people would define as a slum or a terrible area. That's not what it means. It means what state law says. I mean, and it's a broad and expansive definition, and I'm specifically reading from OCGA 3661-2. And so this is a broad definition that encompasses a lot, not just, deteriorated buildings and dilapidation as one might expect. So it talks about areas where there is lack of adequacy of size or accessibility, layouts, or other conditions. So it talks about street design. So, I mean, you would have an area where the streets just weren't conducive to development. And you would call that, it would qualify as a pocket of blight under the statute, such that you could redesign the streets to facilitate economic development. And so I think people should just kind of untether themselves from the ordinary layperson understanding of a pocket of blight and focus instead on what the General Assembly has defined it as under state law, which doesn't mean what people ordinarily would think it means.
Let me just say that I had that first concern when we established the URA and identified the initial area. And it was explained then that, because we were talking the mall area, and I did not see the mall as having my stereotypical definition of what a redevelopment area would look like. But it was explained the way Mr. Denmark explained it this evening. And if you look at what's going on in other municipalities in the counties, you'll find the same thing in terms of some rather posh areas classified as urban redevelopment areas. So the definition covers a lot. So thank you very much. No, we don't want to go into a debate about it yet, just to give you that information. Now, the items that are on here, you might want the city manager to address some of it. I know that the items A, B, and, well, all of them are explained in your package. But if you want to get some expanded information on them, or if we're ready to just pause and wait for the 7 o'clock meeting, it's up to you guys.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilman Rob Turner.
in reference to our CFO not being available, would this be beneficial for us to discuss that, or should we have her here to ensure that we get a good understanding or getting the information we need concerning these issues?
You'll get a chance to redo it on Wednesday, and if you don't want to double do it, we can just skip it and wait. Or you can get parts of it now and expand on it on Wednesday.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Mayor Cobble, yeah.
So are you saying that there's not a possibility of discussing these during work session? Are you saying it's now or Wednesday?
We could also cover them in the work session if you want to add that to your work session once we go into work session at 7 o'clock. Add all of them or some of them to the work session agenda. Let me also mention that there was a ad for a 9 o'clock meeting in reference to the URA, and we've determined that that meeting is not necessary, so there will not be a 9 o'clock special call meeting for the URA. Just for your information. So if you want to add this to the work session, or some of them, we'll take that under consideration once we open the work session at 7 o'clock.
I mean, it would just be my preference not to discuss the items that I believe were hers to add to the special call meeting in her absence, but certainly the departmental updates that are on the work session can either wait or be emailed.
Any ideas whether or not she's going to be at the work session?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She has items on the work session.
Any other comments about this? I just wanted the public to know we had advertised in some areas that it was a 6 o'clock meeting. So at 6 o'clock, we did open up to let you know that we cannot officially have the 6 o'clock meeting because of some advertising issues. And if you have no more comments, we can take a break until 7 o'clock and can do a little more prep to make sure we're ready for the 7 o'clock meeting. Any other comments or questions? No other comments or questions? Then we will take a break, or we will just suspend this unofficial meeting, call it adjourned, suspend it, and be ready for the 7 o'clock meeting, which will open with a public hearing on the item for URA.